Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants. We're going to hit it just like water skiing. So, if you're wondering if you're broken, you're not. We're going to teach you how in the show. So, hang tight. We've got a great session for you, and we'll be right back after this quick video. Good morning, Giants. Welcome back to Wake Up with Giants TV. I'm Nick Smith, author of The Giants and the Smalls, The Tortoise's Hair, The Art of Accomplishment, This Journal, That Journal, and co-creator of my12journeys.com. And we've got a great guest today. Before we dive into that, I'll do a little bit of housekeeping here. If you do want to comment, we bring those comments live onto the show. So we are running live here. And you can do that on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com and type in Wake Up with Giants TV, then you'll see this show and others. But if you'll go live into this show and comment, we'll bring those on and talk about some of those things as well. We are getting ready to run our 17th cohort of SG, which is our Sum Gigante program. And so Sum Gigante stands for I Am Giant in Latin. And this is the program where we instill an operating system in you to help you navigate not only your old narratives, but some of the difficulties that you face in life that are keeping you from reaching your potential. And so the 12 Journeys framework is taught in that program. We have 12 new characters for the Giants and the Smalls and 12 new stories as well that are only taught in that SG program. So we hope you'll join us. Reach out to me for details and I'll get those to you. And outside of that, we're just having fun and kicking. So we're just moving along. So we got a great guest today whose glasses are thicker than mine. You know, seeing a size focus number 3, she can see into the future almost, right? Glasses so thick she sees the future.
Yeehaw.
And all your secrets, right?
That's right.
So let me introduce our guest today. So we've all faced moments where life feels fragmented, where loss, silence, or struggle leaves us searching for meaning. But what if those very moments could become the doorway to wholeness? What if the breaking was actually the beginning of creation? So our guest today, Sunshine Hemmert, knows the journey firsthand. After the passing of her eternal companion, Jared, in 2022, she embarked on a global soul retrieval, traveling across India, Egypt, Greece, Baja, and beyond, gathering back the pieces of herself that grief, trauma, and survival had buried. From that journey emerged her 4 steps to sacred co-creation, a path that invites us to remember who we are, reclaim what we've silenced, realign with God, and release control so that life can flow as it was designed. So Sunshine is a Christ-centered life coach, retreat leader, and spiritual guide whose mission is to help others move from fragmentation to wholeness, to keep not just from survival, but from divine partnership. It's an honor to welcome her today. Massive welcome to Sunshine. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Nick. It's good to be
That
here.
a decent intro there.
Yeah, that was good.
We're going to dive into it does sound like who you are. And we're going to dive into your story and your journey here. I always like to go back into what led to you being where you are today. And I'll give a little bit of foundation here. When we teach our 12 journeys, we always start with the non-conscious journey, which is the idea that we have an identity that's created, and it's created from our experiences, our own experiences, those of our family, our culture, our society. They all get ingrained and instilled. And then we start to adopt those and become that identity. And what I love about the word identity is it means identical, same as. And so our inner world tries to align with our outer world. And so when you're looking at your life and your pathway that led to you being here to develop the identity you have today, can you kind of take us through what created you being where you are today?
Well, when I look backwards in my life, it definitely, when I'm looking backward, it definitely wasn't the sunshines and the bubbles and the rainbows and the stars that created me.
Yeah.
I don't when I'm looking backwards, the best parts of me were created by the hardships and the pain and uh, the bumps in the road. And pain is really a beautiful thing when I'm looking backward. Um,
Mm,
it's the ugly spots that made me the most beautiful. Um, which is an interesting thing when you're looking backward. Uh,
yeah.
it's fun to look at the beautiful spots, but it's most powerful to me when I look at the parts that were the hardest that I conquered.
Mm,
That's where I grew the most. Um, so those are the those are the parts that created and carved out the most beautiful parts of me. I don't go to the gym to lift bubbles. I go to the gym to lift hard weight. And when I'm
mm,
looking backwards, it's those parts of my life that were the most difficult that made me the most beautiful. So definitely in more specifically, the hardships of my life were, and it's not just the trauma, but the
mm,
trauma is the best part of me, right? It's the overcoming the trauma. Um,
yeah.
and that started for me quite young. But when I'm looking back at that, those are also the parts of me that, yeah, and then the scars, those are reminders that I did that, right? That I was
Yeah.
able to do that, that I did that. And that I never did it alone. And I will say that a million times. I was never alone. God was always with me. Angels were always with me. Um, and some of those angels are right here on earth. They're my friends,
Yeah.
they're my family, they're sometimes strangers. Um, but so the pieces in my life that make me who I am and continue to make me who I am are definitely, I would say, the hardships. So that's my gratitude for that, and
Yeah.
continues to be my gratitude every day. I think people in life try to avoid pain in every way, emotional pain. Um, Hi, Andrea. Emotional pain, physical pain, um, mental pain, but really, and they also avoid conflict. Conflict is another thing that made me so much stronger.
Mm,
We avoid the hard things, but really, if we switch that perspective, um, and really look at it like, oh, this is so exciting. What is this about? That's the good news, right? Because that's what makes us stronger. So,
so you do a lot of work with neurolinguistic programming, and we'll
do.
go through some patterns there. So, as we look at the programming of our brain and that
Mhm.
identity, some of us will take a hardship and we'll turn it into a reason or justification for not growing.
Right.
And others will take that same situation and they'll turn it into a motivation to grow or a
Mhm.
motivation to change a behavior or pattern. Can you speak to that a little bit? Like, how does that work, and how does the brain process that so we can actually transform?
Well, and it's such an interesting thing that right there, for me, it's about perspective. And because we all have an opportunity or a choice for a perspective.
Yeah.
Um, and how do we change that perspective? Uh, because when I learned that when I don't like something, when I'm looking at something, if I'm just simply looking at something and I don't like what I see, then move so that I
Yeah.
see it from a different perspective, right? And I've learned to do that over and over and over. But in neurolinguistics, when we're learning it, and when I'm coaching it, I'll oftentimes take a person back in their life, time, because time and space are non-existent, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we're learning that. But going back in time, taking the person they are now back in time to the person that they were then, and looking at it from the perspective that they're at now. And it changes everything. Just perspective is powerful. It's
Yeah.
one of the most powerful things that we have. Just move to the right, move to the left, and see it from a different angle. And the things that help us see that are you help me see that, right? Just the person that we're with, if we're open to what they're saying, look at how they see what you're saying. Open your curiosity. Curiosity is another extremely powerful thing for perspective. Because again, perspective is so powerful. It's such a simple thing, but it's a powerful thing because you can get another person's perspective and it changes the world,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like that and being open and curious to other people's perspective to help me change and grow.
So that opening up, right? So
Uh-huh.
if we look at the brain, so the brain creates all these neural pathways, these connections, and that's what we call our identity. So all these experiences become a memory of our experience with life, and that becomes our perspective. So now we start to filter everything out here through that identity, right?
Mhm.
And we try and make what's in here identical to what's out here. And so we can also say, look, I've had experience with a person, let's say like Sunshine. I've never had experience with you, but I have a perspective or judgment that you can't help me. Well, that's what I'm going to see in you. And no matter what you share, I'm not going to be able to open up to what you're sharing, because if my perspective is you can't help me, then that's what I'm going to experience. Right.
Uh-huh.
But if I think, oh, if Sunshine can help me, then I'm going to open up to whatever you're saying. And it is going to have an effect. My brain's going to get curious about you and start to ask questions.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And the first step in this 4-step process that we were talking about, the 4 steps
Yeah.
are remember, reclaim, realign, and then release. Those are the 4 steps that I go through when I
Mm.
actually am helping someone, right? To reclaim, that's my 4 steps in co-creation, right? The 4 R's.
Yeah.
The first one is to remember, which is what we're talking about specifically, to
Yeah.
remember who I am, who I really am. And that perspective right there is what we're talking about. Who am I
Yeah.
really? Because we create a false identity through this lens of who I am. Who am I really? How do I get to who I am really? Because I've got all of these lenses of perspective of who I am. So how do I get to who I am? Because
Mm.
I'm told through these, I've created a totally false identity, right? So this
Yeah.
step is about peeling away trauma. It's about roles and peeling away trauma and roles and stories to remember who I am in my essence, right? Not who
Okay.
I'm told before the world shaped me. Because the world shaped us, right? All the way from the
Absolutely.
day that we came, the day that we
Yeah.
came. All of these things were I was told who I am from the very second I was conceived, right?
Yep.
Everybody has a different opinion about that. But I want to know who I am because I'm not broken. I'm just layered,
Mm.
right? That's a different way to see that. I'm not broken,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely layered. So who am I before the layers came on? What is my soul? I want to know, I want to get down to that. That's important to me, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first step, is to remember who I am. And I feel like through these hard things that we just talked about from the beginning, the hard
Yeah.
things are what help me get through the layers of down to who I am.
Can we play here for a minute?
Uh-huh.
When you look at the 12 journeys, because you're a 12 journeys coach as well,
Uh-huh.
and so you've incorporated it into what you do. But when we look at that identity and who somebody says they are, and
Mm-hmm.
then they go through a hardship and that disrupts everything that they say they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they're really looking at, what do I want to carry forward from here? And they start to realize, like, all this stuff that they carried as identity and character, and they're like, I'm this and I'm that. They realize in that hardship that they're not any of that. And they start to
Right.
set that down, right? Can you kind of go into that a little bit? Like, what comes up as you hear that?
So here's my example, and my name is Sunshine.
Yeah.
So my whole life I heard, you are my sunshine. Right, you are my sunshine. So I'm sunshine. That's what I'd heard. That's what I was born. I heard it from my whole life. So in my mind, I am sunshine. I am light. I am happy, but I'm everybody else's sunshine. So I felt like I
Yeah.
came into the world literally to be this joy and happiness for everyone else.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought that was my job, because that was the lens I saw down to my very name.
Mm.
When Jared died, this is the example, and this is why it really shattered. It literally shattered who I was, which gave me which gave me my moment to live.
Mm.
Um, when Jared died, I woke up and I was going through being an empty nester at the same time. Jared has 3 sons, and they went to live with their mom. So I woke up. My mom is also an addict, so I've been around addicts my whole life. So I was born to be everybody's sunshine in my mind. That's all the lens I was born with. And I loved being it. I
Yeah.
loved being everybody's sunshine. It's such a beautiful blessing. But I had become, Jared was an addict. So I had become somebody who kept everyone joyful, but also had become a person to keep him alive, literally.
Mm.
So when he died, I woke up. I was no longer a mother to my children. They were out of the house. And Jared, I was no longer a wife. And I had no reason to be alive. And so I didn't want to get out of bed. I literally lost my identity.
Mm.
Um, and in that very moment where I lost my identity, it was such a gift. Because my whole life I was like, oh, who am I? I don't know who I am. I don't know what I like to do. I don't know. My whole life was just to be here for everybody else, to be their joy.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was like, oh dear, wait a minute. And I went to the mirror, literally this morning, and I looked in the mirror and it was like it hit me like a boulder. And the song I had heard my whole life, You Are My Sunshine, the words changed. And it was, I am my sunshine. And it just played over and over and over. And I was like, the scripture came, man is that they might have joy.
Mm.
And it changed everything. God was speaking to me, wait. This is my life. This is I am. I'm here that I have joy. And everything in me changed. What am I going to do now? I'm not a mom. I'm not a wife. I am. I just am. I am. Like everything in me, the words I am echoed in me differently than they ever had. And my life, the pain was crushing, but the new beginning was beautiful. It was like the beginning, the I am of I am. And everything changed in that moment because I realized who I am really. I am. I am everything and I am nothing.
Yeah.
And in that, I could start to really begin my life.
I want
Right.
to highlight this, okay? Because
Right.
it's very powerful because at our core, we really get to determine who we are or what roles we play or what identity we take on. I just want to recapture here some of the things that you've said because when Jared died, your identity, which was tied to that, now was disrupted. And
Mm-hmm.
so the outer world and the inner world no longer matched, and there was no reconciliation for that outer world and inner world. You couldn't bring Jared back, right?
Mm-mm.
And so your identity had to rupture in such a way that now you had to go out and find out, well, who am I? And you've been told your whole life, you're sunshine. You're meant to bring joy to everybody's life. Well, then the co-creation part here is what is amazing is there is a part of us that's beyond our identity, an observer, the I am, like you say, it's so beyond everything that's ever been created that now we really get to play with, well, who am I? And if I know who I am, what would I like to play out in this world and create as my identity, right? This identity thing of, do I want to be this or do I want to be that? And do I want to play this role or do I want to play that role? And now instead of carrying forward everything that's ever been given to us, now it's a chance to just recreate or co-create with our own I am, our own identity, right? That core identity. Let's say it that way.
Right. Yeah.
To co-create something different. So you're not locked into that old pattern anymore, right?
No. It's like the world it's everything. It's everything and nothing, like I said, which is the very beginning of my life. It's like everything hit me. Oh, that's what it means to have actually dark and light. Because now the next step for me is very interesting because I hit the nothing and the everything. And the very next step for me, I understood the dark and the light. In the very next, it's like the next blink was, oh, dark and light. That was my next understanding. Everything and nothing. was my first. I am everything and nothing. And my next thing was, but I'm in the dark, or I'm in the light, which is interesting because my name is Sunshine, which was my next understanding of everything and nothing, which I could go into a whole, feels like whole thing on that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to the beginning of all things, all things, right? We had everything and nothing. We had, God created whatever, right? Everything and nothing. And then the next was the light and the dark. And I could feel that in me. It's like I could understand it in a different way. I am nothing and everything, then I am light and dark. And so,
which in the context of co-creation, I mean, creating your own identity and creating yourself, I am everything, I am nothing, and I'm also the light in the dark. Philip Zimbardo, one of the top researchers, he did the Stanford prison experiment, and he wrote a book called The Lucifer Effect. And in that book, he posits that every one of us has the ability for darkness. So all the evil we've seen this week, which has been a lot,
yeah.
Many of us would say, oh, I would never do that. But his research shows that every one of us is as capable of that as that person of doing something dark and light. It's in all of us, right? And so realizing that, it's really choice. Now we have to choose which direction do we want to take it? Who do we want to be in the world, right?
Right.
So
I really work hard. Yeah. I work hard to not say I would never.
Yeah. Because it comes back and bites you, right? You're like, oh shit! I just did what I said I'd never do.
I usually say I might do that. I might. I just might. I'm pretty curious about the things I would and wouldn't do. Because as I learned, right, I saw this piece of who I am. I just am. And then the next in this 4-step series, right, is I reclaim what parts of me I abandon. Because that's that next step of when I had this like aha moment of like, wait, I am everything and I am nothing. The next part of this 4-step co-creation process for me was to become whole. So to become whole, because I wanted to become whole, that whole soul I was when I first started. Because I believe that this life is just remembering who we are. It's actually remembering, right? That the goal is to remember, right? So I needed to, I want to reclaim the parts of me that I abandoned in this life. So to become whole, I have to reclaim what I silenced, the voice, my intuition, my power, my softness, even rest, right? Which is interesting, it's rest. But so we meet our masculine and our feminine here. This is the part that builds and the part that rebirths, right?
Okay.
And that's the light and the dark, right? That's where we reclaim, I feel like. And I had to reclaim them both. So the feminine, the flow, is the part that flows and feels, and also the sacred masculine that sets structure and that protects, and it like protects vision. So reclaiming is remembering that we were never too much for me, and we were always multidimensional. I was always those things, right? And once I know once I kind of am like, wait, once I know who I am and what I carry, then this step invites me to realign my creation with God, not with ego. Those are different.
Okay, so the steps are remember, reclaim, right? Or no, remember, reclaim.
Yes, remember, reclaim. Then we hit realignment, which I'm kind of going into realignment now.
Okay,
right? Realign is where we so reclaim. So reclaim we talked about, right? So reclaim is where we reclaim. We're bringing it all
back. What's real, right?
Yeah, like this is real. And then we realign. So now this is in this paradigm, we don't create from pressure, we create from partnership.
Okay.
Right? So the question will be, God.
I act like I know what you're saying, but I don't. Like in your context, what do you mean in partnership? We create in partnership.
So we don't create from pressure, we create from partnership. So the question for me would be, God, what are we creating today? So when you move from that space, everything becomes sacred. So, and it doesn't have to be God. You and I have talked about this before. It can be, it could be, it doesn't have to be God. You know what? It could be asking myself, what are we creating today? What are all of the parts of me? What today are we creating in this moment? You could be asking your partner, what are we creating today, honey? It could be the community. What are we creating today? It could be the universe. People will say, asking the universe, what are we creating today? So but it's not creating, we don't create from pressure, meaning we don't create this from
Like having
anxiety. It's
to.
it's actually
Yeah, yeah,
reaching out. Yeah, it's not a having to. When another way to play, when we go, sometimes people say, you know what, God, give me, or universe, whatever, give me what I need.
yeah.
Co-creation is the loaves and the fishes, the idea of the loaves and the fishes. I take what I have and I give it. And then in co-creation, it is made into everything it needs to be.
Okay, so I'm going to pull in the journeys here a little
Okay,
bit.
yeah,
Okay,
perfect. Yeah, that's
entities.
good.
So if we can do
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm hoping.
So when we look at the remember and the reclaim,
Uh-huh.
so the
Uh-huh.
first 6 journeys are all about the inner world. First journey is non-consciousness, who you think you are, where that comes from, how the brain works, how the brain's all about efficiency and energy and conservation. And there's a consciousness beyond that, right? The
Okay.
identity beyond that. So that would be in your words, the I am.
Right.
And then you go into awareness. The journey of awareness is waking up to all of the characteristics we've adopted or put on ourselves. And
Right.
then the journey of grief is learning how to navigate the difficult emotions, sensations of our body that it's engineered to create when it's interpreting its experiences in the world. And
Right.
so grief, anxiety, depression, all the heavier emotions all tie into that journey of grief. Then we go into the journey of acceptance, which is acknowledging what is in your world, what has been, what is. And then you go into the journey of gratitude, which is acknowledging the good in your world, right?
Yes.
All of the abundance around you, the enoughness that you have to draw from, you start to see it. So you acknowledge what's good. And then the 6th journey is empowerment, which is learning tools to stay in that space. So every time you get in an old narrative, how to rewrite that, what tools you can use to navigate your intense sensations and emotions. So where you're at with realignment, so those tie into remember and reclaim. And then realign is the 5 growth journeys, but also the legacy journey, because the growth journeys are uncertainty. I don't know what's going to happen next. Everything's a possibility. The journey of abundance, everything I need is here. I just have to transform it. And then the
Yep.
journey of vision, which is that I get to imagine and create or co-create something. And then
Right.
it's surrender and nurture, where you do take steps, but you surrender the how and the when, right?
And the
Yeah,
fourth,
go ahead.
the fourth step is release. There's 4
Release.
steps. So the
So
fourth step, and that's where you let go, you let flow instead of control. That's actually surrender.
yeah, there we go.
So the 4 steps are remember, reclaim, realign, and then release. So actually
Okay.
release is that surrender. Release is where you get those last 2, where you
Yeah.
nurture, and then you well, they're actually, I think release actually includes the last 4, right? Because
Yeah.
you actually vision, well, yeah, because you vision, that's kind of still that you're realigning.
Yeah.
And then, but then you surrender, you nurture, and that legacy is where you just flow. You just kind of surrender. Because I feel like a lot of times for me specifically, realigning or releasing is very difficult for me in co-creation.
Yeah, you're not alone.
And it's like, oh man, I hate this part. I
Uh-huh.
really just, in the feminine, this is the flow. And I can talk a little bit. This is where dance has saved my life. It
Mm.
really helps me learn the releasing. Flow and dance in my life have been, they go together. I literally go and partner dance because it helps me
Yeah.
understand release in my
Yeah.
body.
So
It's
this is
really
really
helped me.
cool to see. As you look at the remember, reclaim, realign, and release, then
Yeah,
you pull in the 12 journeys. What I love about the 12 journeys is they underlie everything. So whether it's
right.
relationship or business or spirituality, the 12 journeys are a framework for life. It's a languaging of how we operate. It's
Yeah,
essentially
and
what
I
it
get
is.
so excited when I talk to you about this because
Yeah.
I brought this together through the 12 journeys. I wanted 4 steps that I
Yeah.
could use with the 12 journeys and help people take 4 steps and then use the 12 journeys within the 4 steps to lengthen out our process so that they could have and you and I have worked on this a long time,
Yeah.
but have these 12 journeys where they could use them in the 4 steps and take them deeper, a lot deeper.
Yeah.
Because the 12 journeys take them 12 journeys, I'm able to take these 4 steps really deep into a lot of times into their trauma and help them heal deeply.
Yeah. Are you
I mean, I can
familiar
go
with
deep.
via negativa?
Mm-mm.
It's where you strip everything back. So like when Carl Jung said that unless we face our shadows, they'll continue to rule our life and we'll call it fate. And so unless we face those traumas and those dark experiences and really sit with them, then we'll just continue to operate non-consciously and feel like we're destined to that. But via negativa, what that does is it allows you to strip away everything. It's like, who are you? Okay, well, where did that come from? And where did that come from? And where did that come from? And you go all the way back to nothingness, essentially. But what you find is when you get to nothingness, you find everything. Like everything now becomes a
everything
possibility,
is in nothing.
right?
Yeah. So when we keep going through these 4 areas, I'll take them through remember, reclaim, realign, release. And we'll go through that in every trauma. And I mean every single one. Or we'll go through it with their spiritual traumas. Then we go through it with their partner trauma. I personally like to work in relationships. I love relationships. I love them all. I love relationships, the relationship with God. I love your relationship with your family. I love your relationships. I think they're powerful and I love them. And I love conflict. I love digging around in conflict. I flip and think it's amazing because I love the feeling of coming through the conflict and being like, oh, peace. That's such a cool feeling when you come through that nasty and then you come out and you're like, and it feels really good that you work through that. I feel like that feels like a superhero feeling. Especially in marriage. When you come through and you're like, man, we really thought that it was over. Like it was done. And then you come through and like, we love each other so much. We love each other more than we ever have. And that in marriage, I see it the most. I see it. That's the most powerful co-creation partnership ever. It's beautiful. Where they're on the bridge of killing each other. I mean, really, in marriage. And then they come through. And when you do this when you remember what you have in a relationship, you remember how in love you are. You reclaim the commitment that you have in the marriage. You realign and then you release all the bullshit. That is powerful. When you take it through the 12 journeys and then you create a legacy of a family. And you create a legacy of a line all the way back to the beginning of time in your family. And that is such a beautiful line. And so that's what I think, that's what I love. That's what I want for people. Right. That's what I want through this. I want them to be able to remember who they are first, then who they are, who they are with God, like who they are. Then I want them to be able to remember in their relationships, the first relationship with their partner, hopefully, right? Whatever that means. And then in the community. So that's right. So those are those are the different ones that I want to be able to see. That's my hope. That's what I want. And I do that through the 12 journeys. Because the 12 juniors, these are brilliant. You created this. That's why I coach with them. I think it's one of the most brilliant things, I've told you this a million times, ever created. It's beautiful. I want the world to see it. I want the world to use it. I want the world to coach with it because it works. That's why it works.
It does work. And I use it in my life. You're one of our coaches. We have other coaches that are using it in their practice. So what I love about it is that it underlies, but it's foundational. You have to have it. The 12 journeys are essential. And when you know them, then you take them into all these different areas. And in my own life, what I've seen is when I couldn't navigate my anxiety through medications and my therapy wasn't working, I needed something that would help me to get through this. And so I started really researching. I didn't want pseudoscience. I didn't want philosophy here. I wanted stuff that you could evidentially support. And each of these journeys has so much science behind it. It's like you dive down the rabbit hole and you're like, holy crap, dude. Like you can't end on just one journey And that's what I wanted is what can we put into these journeys that will support and have evidence for it, that will truly create that wholeness that you're talking about, that realignment, that remembering. And even this, I'll throw this in, is even the visioning is a remembering. So we had Catherine Lee on our show, and she said that when she creates visions, she creates memories of things yet to be. And so the way our brain stores that drive for that vision is a memory. So we're remembering our future, and it hasn't even happened yet. Like, it's so phenomenal. You know what I mean?
So one of these things, I wrote this down because I thought it was so interesting. Most people think, because now we're going from, you were talking about specifically, visualization in co-creation. This is why I think this is beautiful about co-creation. It's like the next step beyond visualization. So most people think that co-creation means I dream it, I visualize it, and then the universe hands it to me like a package on a doorstep. A lot of times that's what people think. But here's the truth. Co-creation is not manifestation, it's multiplication, right? So it's the story of the loaves and the fishes, which I've mentioned. So a boy brought what he had. He brought 5 loaves and 2 fish, okay? It wasn't enough, not for 5,000 people, but Jesus took that little offering, blessed it, broke it, and multiplied it. That's co-creation. So it's not me bending God to my will. It's me bringing my little and letting him make it more. So when my husband, Jared, passed away, right? I felt like I had nothing left to offer. And I just had grief and brokenness. But even grief, when I placed it before God, I said, this is all I have.
Holy crap. I'm having like a flash of, keep going.
Right? God, he multiplied it. He multiplied my grief. And out of it came new compassion and new light and new purpose. And he showed me that when you bring me your offering, and I will breathe eternity into it. So that's when I realized the miracle of co-creation. It doesn't begin with abundance. It begins with willingness. Right? And so Matthew in 4:19, he says, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. Did you catch that? Jesus doesn't feed the 5,000 directly. He multiplies through the hands of the disciples. That means co-creation isn't just between me and God. It's also between me and the people he places around me. And so the question is, what loaves and fishes are you holding back because you think they're too small? Which is about the giants. Right? And then where are you waiting for more before you begin? Why do we wait? And then what if the miracle doesn't require more? It just requires surrender. So
I want to throw
the
a
truth
thought
about
in there.
co-creation is that God doesn't need my perfection. He just needs my participation. And my little becomes his much.
Well, and the word perfection, okay? Latin perficere, to perform and to complete. He needs you to perform, but he doesn't need you to perform in like 100% perfect way. So here's what's cool is, as you were talking about that, I was thinking of a tomato seed. And he's like, you just plant this one little seed. That's all you have to do. You plant that seed in the garden, and the word create means to grow, to care for, to grow, to create. And so the laws of thermodynamics talk about that. We don't create energy, we just transform it. But all we have to do is plant that one seed. And then I have hundreds of tomatoes, like too many that I can't even keep up with all the tomatoes from that one seed, right? And that little effort of planting one seed multiplies, like you say, and there's an abundance of tomato seeds. And now I have more tomato seeds than I'll ever need in my life. And if I plant those, now I've got even more abundance to draw from. And it's like, there's no end to it. And it's not about perfection. It's about planting the seed, right? Until it gets planted, it doesn't operate. And so for us, a lot of times this is where I want to play for a minute. We talk ourselves out of planting any seeds because we have this belief system of, who am I to do this? Who am I to plant a seed and it won't work anyway? You know, I planted one years ago and it did this, and so I don't believe it'll do anything. So we don't even do it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that's where we get stuck.
We get set. Well, the loaves and the fishes, it wasn't about food. It was about process. It was about the boy bringing what he has. Jesus blesses it. It's broken. It's multiplied, and it feeds a ton. Guess what the pattern of the 12 journeys is?
Yeah.
It's a process. He went from unconscious awareness. The boy he's holding the bread and the fish. He's unaware. It could become more. He gets awakened. It's an awakening. Grief and acceptance. The offering looks too small. We grieve our lack, but then we accept it because it's all we have to bring, right? Then he gets gratitude and empowerment. Gratitude's the blessing. Jesus gives thanks before the miracle. The gratitude transforms scarcity into empowerment, right? Uncertainty and abundance. Multiplication is uncertain, right? That's uncertainty. You don't know how it'll work, but abundance comes when you release control, right? Vision and surrender, that's that's multiplicate. Then vision and surrender, the vision is feeding the multitude. The surrender is handing over the loaves, right? And then nurture and legacy, the miracle doesn't just feed once. It becomes a story passed down through generations, so the legacy's born.
Yeah. And impact, right? And ripple.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my word. So that's why it's like, and I can see that all of a sudden when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh. So I could go over because of this one, using this one, I could use, it's like scripture all of a sudden because of this, because of these 4 things, right? Remember, reclaim, realign, and then release. I could use this in so many scriptures, but then from the scripture, I can put it into a process. And for me, my brain works in process. Lo and behold, I know I don't seem like a person that works this way because I'm very emotional.
Beyond the chaos, right?
Yeah, beyond, if I can just get beyond, even I giggle because the beginning of this podcast, even it takes me a minute to get through my emotion and then I can start working in process. It's like, then all of a sudden I see it and the process starts to work. And scripture, or, you know, all of these things that we learn, the scripture, all of a sudden, it's like I see it as a calculator and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 through 12. And I can see it and I see the process and I can bring process to my life.
Yeah.
And I can all of a sudden go, well, wait, where am I stuck in this? Oh, I know. I need to go back to, I just am barely becoming aware. I need to grieve this. I need to grieve this so that I can accept it. And then I can have gratitude for it and go back into those roots, that root system, right?
And the gratitude, just all it does is it opens up your eyes to the enoughness, to how much is really around us and how much we have to draw from to transform. I loved what Richard Paul Evans called it. He said that chaos is the mine of creation. And so that chaos, that abundance that's out there is already there. I didn't have to create money. I didn't have to create oxygen. I didn't have to create trees or stone or metal or any of that. It's already here. So all I have to do is vision and transform. And like you're saying, release.
Exactly.
Because there's no guarantee it's going to go the way I want, when I want, how I want.
And gratitude from, I mean, I am like, when I'm in grief, I am like a sloth. I am barely moving. I am like,
I can relate. Yeah.
I am like, oh my gosh. And then I'll hit this acceptance and I can feel myself go from like a sloth, I don't know, to maybe like a gopher. But my heck, when I freaking hit gratitude, I am like a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
It's just like zing. Like I'm like, the minute I can somehow flip perspective, because this is about perspective. Perspective is so powerful that it sends me into in my physical being, it sends me into this different space because now we're in processing, right? I am like a lightning bolt. And sometimes I almost have to go from gratitude to get back into uncertainty because a lightning bolt can be dangerous. I'll start zipping all over the place. Like I am going to burn people with all this.
Yeah.
Like I am just zipping everywhere that I've got to get back into vision so that I can actually make something of the lightning bolt because I'm just pure energy in that gratitude state. And I can get into like a manic phase, like for real. Like I can, and sometimes I feel like that's that sunshine part of me where I just get stuck. I can get stuck in gratitude and become, I will call it mania. I have people that I work with where I'm like, I love your gratitude. It's beautiful. How can we move that down into more of a vision? Like, because it gets wild,
Yeah.
right? It gets wild. I love the gratitude. It's beautiful and people need it. But these last, I can see in these last couple, in the last 4 or 5, that's where we mold it into something that gets us somewhere. It moves,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I've been able to see it more in a process in my coaching where I see people in their personality types almost, where they're
Yeah.
in
Okay.
these certain things where we can mold them, where they can use them all. They can grow in all of these different journeys. They can grow in all of them and see. We've used, you and I have talked. We've used animals to portray the journeys. We've
Yeah.
used all different things, characters, because personalities. There's also personalities that we need in the world that are the 12, that are like the 12 journeys.
Yeah.
They embody more of each one, and they're beautiful. Everybody's beautiful,
Yeah.
right?
It's like flowers in a field. It's the differences that make a bouquet. And
Yeah.
they are beautiful. It's like
Oh, I
we
have
need that
friends that are
difference.
completely non-conscious.
Yeah. Yeah, me
Literally.
too.
They are out there and I love them. I'm like, I love being around you
Yeah.
because you are just out there in the lilies floating around in absolute just don't have, and I love that about them. I love being that with them. They don't have a care in
Yeah.
the freaking world. They don't even know what's going on. I love them. I have people that live, I love everybody, and I love, that's another reason I would encourage people to get in and go through the journeys so they know them, because you learn to love people, you learn to love the world, you learn to love business. It just, you can apply it to everything. I really am so grateful for it.
Yeah, that's
It
amazing.
makes me a better person, a better coach.
It
Yeah.
does, because now you're pulling the ownership of your creations back here and co-creating first with yourself. You're co-creating with that identity and the consciousness. And science doesn't know how to frame this yet. They haven't landed on where is consciousness in the brain. It's
Uh-uh.
not. It's
Right.
not. And Carl Jung talked about that there's not only our consciousness, but there's a collective consciousness that we're tied into as well. And
Uh-huh.
so we start with that co-creation, and then there's God in there, there's our family, there's the world, there's culture, all these things that we can feed into, but we've got to go back to our core identity and create from that,
Yeah.
right? And the
Oh,
12 journeys, the number 12 is symbolic. It's a number of completion. It's everywhere. You'll see it in scripture, you'll see it in nature, it's mathematical. And the beauty of the 12 journeys is they're fractaled, meaning that there is no limit to the amount of growth you can do using the 12 journeys. Like there's an infinite loop that you can get into of, well, what would I like to create? And you go
mm.
through the 12 journeys on that, right?
Oh yeah, it's been, as I traveled, we talked a little about me traveling, and I go into different places in the world talking about like this group, this consciousness in the world. I've
Yeah.
had beautiful things happen to me. When I was in Egypt, I didn't even know who Isis was. I didn't even
Hmm.
know what in the world. I'm sitting in the temple of Isis and I'm with Mary Magdalene. I'm like, how in the world, what does Mary Magdalene have anything to do with Isis, and who are these people? When another thing about traveling, right? And then surrender and me going through the remember, the reclaim, the realign. Part of me reclaiming in that second step was, and me reclaiming these pieces of who I was, who I am, was learning that death is not a, I don't even believe that death is, it's not real. It's a lie.
Hmm.
In it, there's death in this world that we don't see these people, or, but as I learned, one of the ways I learned that was in Egypt, being with people that
Yeah.
clearly are not, like, I was like, I don't, and as I studied this and I studied Isis and I studied Mary, I saw all of these, we're all connected, but I didn't even know who they were. So how in the world could I know they were connected? It was a remembering, right?
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
remembering of these people. And I felt like they were right there with me because they were. They are, right? Being guided by people who have been here. Egypt was magical for me. It was magical. I would tell everybody, you know, travel. and I always say there's always a way, because if you're feeling inspired to do something, the way will be created. That goes back to
Yeah.
Lewis and the
Yeah.
Fishes, right? Give what you
Yeah.
have and the rest
Yeah.
will
You don't
come.
need to know the how. You just need to
Uh-uh.
commit to that imagining, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That goes
Yep.
back. Yeah. And that's another way that the 12 journeys has helped me. You become aware that, oh, I want this in my life. Like, this is something I need. And then everything else falls into place. Like, it just, in my life, I feel like just being able to be here, I am being just, I am, has and letting go of everything
Mm,
else has created this like magic carpet ride in my life, where I don't need to know how this flipping thing flies. I don't really care.
yeah.
It doesn't, I don't need to know the how. I don't need to know the why. I'm just enjoying where it takes me. And
Yeah.
I don't want to miss where it's taking me. I don't want to pay attention to the how and the why, because I'm going to miss where I'm at. And
And
I'm
that's
so
what happens.
grateful for that. But it took me a
That
long,
yeah, go ahead. Continue. Yeah.
it just took me a long time, because I would start to notice, oh my gosh, this carpet, I don't know how it's flying. What if it
Mm,
crashes? What if who the hell cares? Who cares if it crashes? Right now, I'm way up here in the sky and the clouds and the rainbows, and it's so beautiful.
I think we froze for just a minute there. So I'm going to speak to the mechanics behind this, and we'll see if she comes back online here. But in the world of the quanta, or the unknown and the mystery, is that there is so much going on behind the scenes that we just can't even explain it. It's weird, the quantum weirdness, the mechanics behind everything, the abundance that's all around us. Is We don't know how it's all going to work, but it's all there for our support. So when we get into that space, like and thanks, I'm glad you're back on. It froze for a minute there.
Yeah.
But when you talk about the magic carpet, right? It's sometimes we get stuck in that loop of, I want to know how it all works. But when you really dive into the mechanics behind this whole thing that creates the miracles in our worlds, it's so weird that we couldn't even understand it anyway. And it's still there, right? It's like,
Yeah.
how can I think of my friend across the country and have this internal like nudge that they're going to reach out, and they reach out? It's like, what the heck, dude? Or, I read the book, The Case for Miracles, and one of the stories they shared in there was that there was a baby in Africa that had a certain bottle it had to have to live. And that bottle broke, and that baby was going to die. And so they said a prayer that they would have that bottle that they needed, that it would show up in some miraculous way. And these are documented stories, but they said this prayer. And later that afternoon, a shipping truck showed up, a UPS truck showed up, whatever it is, and it delivered a box. And they opened up the box, and I'll share one piece of information that really ties into this. One of the girls said in the prayer, if you can send a bottle, please send a baby, or a baby doll for the baby. And so they open up this box later in the afternoon, and inside is the exact bottle that they need that day, right? And the little girl that said the prayer about the doll says, well, if the bottle's there, the baby's there. So they dig through the box, and at the bottom of the box is this baby doll, right? And that showed up the day they prayed, yet it was shipped 6 months earlier and showed up that day. Like, how do you explain that, right? This is the weirdness that I'm talking about, is the how it comes about. Like Steve Jobs says, you can't connect the dots looking for it. You just got to trust they're going to connect, right? This is the weirdness where you're like, you're not responsible for the mechanics. You're responsible for creating the vision, holding the vision, stepping in whatever way you can imagine, and messy is okay, right?
Yeah.
And then follow it through to completion while holding on to the idea. And I love the open hands symbol of receiving it, right?
Right.
Like, I know this is mine. It's coming. I don't know how. I don't need to know how. I don't even know when. I just know it's mine. And we just open up our hands and start receiving it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's that beautiful part of like, And I keep going back, the ways that the I am, the words I am are so beautiful to me. They become more and more beautiful I swear every day. And for sometimes I'll lose it. I'll lose the power of I am, and then it'll come back. It's amazing to me how quickly I can lose something. I'm like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then it'll come back to me in a new way. But I
yeah,
am in every moment. It's not I can be. It's not I want to be. It's not I hope I can be. It's not
yeah. Wow.
it's I am right now. Right? I am has to be like in the present, which we've been learning that. I've been learning that for quite some time. But I still will lose it. No, I can't. It's I am now. Not so in the great I am, when
Yeah,
I stand up and I repeat those words and I read them in the scriptures, and he says I am, and I keep thinking, well, yeah, he is.
yeah,
No, I am. Right. And I say it just like he taught me to say it. I am.
mm,
And so I just keep learning it, and I keep learning it over in new ways, and I'll stand in the mountains and say it, and then I'll say it. And I just keep thinking there's so much power in those words that I'm learning in my life,
yeah,
in co-creation, right? I am. And it's not we are, because it's when you say I am and I say I am and we say it together.
yeah.
It changes
I love
everything.
that.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm learning. I love what I'm learning in my life. I love the age that I am. I actually have learned to love to be alone, and the gift that that is. And if you would have heard, you could not have heard me say that from, if I could have imagined me saying that, I couldn't have possibly. It was my greatest fear. To face your greatest fear is such a gift. It's been such a gift to me. I was so afraid to be alone, and what I've learned is I'm never alone.
Yeah,
I never have been alone. Um, Love is so beautiful, and so it's in every part of us. It's in every cell of our being, and it's so powerful. And
yeah,
it's it makes us eternal and powerful, and it just makes us want to receive it and give it. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the 12 journeys. I'm grateful for love and friendship and family and for life. I'm grateful for life.
yeah. Beautiful. And that's
Yeah.
where creation really opens up. You know, you
Yeah.
really do. When you get in that space of gratitude, there's physiological benefits to gratitude, you know, so it's measurable. Um, but it also opens you up to see that you already have enough. So I'm listening to a book called The Having. And
Uh-huh.
if people haven't read that yet, it's amazing as a way of being in life. It's just, you know what it feels like to have the things that you like. So when you get them in your hand, you just feel this completion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
so what this book teaches is to get into that space prior to actually having it tangibly in your hands,
Oh, to know,
is
to like
to
feel like you have
experience
it.
the having. Yeah.
Right. Which
And
is
so
true
when
when we go back to what I've been talking about, because we've always had it.
yeah, it's never not been there. Everything we've needed is here already,
Uh-huh.
and the creation's already here. But you know, the timing of it hasn't aligned yet, maybe, but it doesn't mean it's not there, and it will come. It's just we get so hung up on that controlling the how and trying to
Hmm.
manipulate it into existence, which we do have the ability to do.
To
You
do,
know,
yeah.
if I'm running a river down the road and it hits a place where I don't want it to go, I can blast a canal into the rock and I'll make that river go where I want, right? That's what humans do. And we've
Right.
been taught to do that, and it's exhausting. It takes a lot of resources, it takes a lot of energy, and it does take energy to create. But when I look at your remember, reclaim, realign, and release, it's that remember is to bring back to the present, essentially.
Hmm.
Is even if it's a future thing, to remember is to bring it right into right now. And to
Hmm.
reclaim it is to say, that's mine. That's
Right.
mine.
Hmm.
Right. And then
Yep.
to realign is what impact do I want to make in the world? What impact does God want me to make in the world? How do I realign with that? And now how do I release and just flow?
Yep.
Because
Right.
and the 12 journeys and your four-step framework, I mean, they're all about recognizing that we are already equipped with everything we need to create anything we can imagine. Everything's a possibility. and the impact you want to make is unique to your gifts and talents. So what do you want to create? Right.
Yeah. Right. Right. And it's also like, it's beautiful because, I mean, quite honestly, if you would have talked to me about this 5 years ago, I would have been like, you're so full of shit.
Me too. Me, I no doubt. Like I would have been, you're crazy.
I would have been like, don't
Yep.
come over here and feed me your mumbo jumbo about this shit. This is
Yep.
not the way it works. Go get me a chemistry kit and let's go ahead and start mixing and stuff. Like it just, I couldn't wrap my mind. But now I'm over here seeing this and it's just makes me giggle. But
Yeah.
the thing is, curiosity is, that's my number one value. And I love curiosity because curiosity is the sauce, I feel like, that makes this all happen.
Yeah.
It's like this, I mean, it's like magic, mixing up curiosity. And I think it's so powerful and beautiful. And I love it because once I start getting in my curiosity and everything's in there and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything, all the possibilities are in there. And
Yeah.
so there's nothing that can't possibly be something.
Yeah. Yeah. What a deep and profound statement.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
and so I think that's really exciting to me. And when I share with people, I get up every morning right now, and this is what my life looks like. And people are like, what? I get up every morning and I say a prayer that that God will send me someone that I can help and that can help me.
Mm.
And that's been happening for 2 years, and not a day has gone by that has not happened. And that flow is a beautiful flow.
Mm.
And it has taught me so much about co-creation, that it's real, that it's powerful, that is what life is about, that
Mm.
it's that, that everything is in motion, and that I feel like we really are all one. We're all one. We all
Yeah.
are interconnected, and I feel that beauty in my life, and I'm grateful. I'm just grateful for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Celeste, thank you for that.
Yeah.
They are, so simple and so complex.
Yeah.
The 4 R's, right? They're just, they encompass everything, yet they're so simple that you can remember them and use them, right? And
That's my hope.
I can't believe the time's already passed here. This is
Yeah, that was
crazy.
fun.
Yeah. As we
There's
wrap up here, go ahead. Yeah.
I have one gift. I have these. Well, you know what? I'm not even gonna give them. If people want to, you can leave
Yes.
my email, because I have these 7 spiritual tools that I
Yep.
use, and I can send them to people that help me with
Yeah.
the 4 R's, and they're cool. They're cool.
Will you share your email real quick? Is it Be Bright Coaching?
Yep, it's bebright, BEBRIGHT coaching@gmail.com. And I'll send these 7. There's just 7 tools that I use for the 4 R's that help me keep them in practice.
Okay.
And they work. They've worked for me anyways.
Yeah. And is that the best way for people to connect with you, is email?
Yeah. Or they can go to my Facebook, and I'll, which is just,
I'm going to go ahead and post that here.
yeah, Facebook works too. I have an Instagram, and they can find that on my Facebook, but
yeah, I don't use Instagram as much anymore, but I
I'm old.
probably should. Everybody says I should.
I know my kids are like, "Why aren't you going to find you on Facebook?" I'm like, well, they'll find me.
Just old people are going to find us on Facebook.
Yeah,
That's what I keep hearing.
I'm using
I'm like,
co-creation.
I'm old.
Find me.
Well, as we come to the close of this, thank you, Andrea. Love you too. And it's amazing to see the co-creation that has happened. I was introduced to you through Andy, and it's just amazing to see the cycle, go through of these people and things come into my life that I couldn't have predicted that. And this speaks to the idea that we don't need to know how when we come into this. We just need to know which direction we're going, kind of like Alice in Wonderland. So when we do that and we imagine and we're willing to stretch and imagine something that hasn't been imagined yet, then all that magic in the background, the miracles, the quanta, they go to work and they help put you in touch with the people that will help you with your vision and dream, or the things you need show up and you're like, what the heck, dude, how do you even explain this? Right. And this is where what you're talking about, the framework that you give to remember, reclaim, realign, and release it just encompasses all of that. Remember who you are. Remember things you haven't even created yet. Remember the you that you haven't even created yet, right? Reclaim what's yours, which is everything here. It's all been given to us. Realign with your vision, whatever that is, and your legacy, your impact, and then release. And that, I think, is the hardest part, right?
It's hard. Because then I have a certain, but it feels the best. The releasing feels the best when I surrender, just like in the dance. When I surrender, I become I become a beautiful dancer because I flow. And that's when I really just let go and I can flow in the rhythm. There's a rhythm in the universe, a rhythm of life, a rhythm, in gravity. There's a rhythm. And when I really do release and I say, okay, God, I am yours. That is when I become the most beautiful dancer in my life. Right. And I think when I let his energy flow through me, when I become his, because I am his. And I think that light really shines through me when I let it shine through me. But I have to release. Right. I don't get to decide where that light shines through me. I don't say, okay, well, let my eyes shine and sparkle. Let my feet. Right. I don't get to do that. He that line does. He lets it shine as it will. Right. And I think that's
if we're willing.
And we have to be willing, right? Willingly surrender. Because I could sit there and surrender and be like, well, no, I'm willful about the surrender. No willfulness. Willing. Well, because I love to be willful.
I do too. I'm a little bit stubborn.
What do you mean? I mean, I'm willful. I'm willful. No, willing. Willing. Those are very different. Look how strong and willful I am. That's not how this works. Right? That's not
different things. Is there anything else you want to share, Sunshine, as we wrap up here? Is there a nudge to share something with the viewers?
No, just that I love you all, and I'm so grateful that I could be here. And just that, if there's just anything that you want to share in your life, if you feel like that you feel sparked by something I said, or you feel sparked to be my friend, I want to be yours too. Just know that. Yeah, that's important to me.
And that's not a flippant statement. So just from experience, guys, that's a real thing. So
if you feel sparked, then there's a reason. I don't believe in accidents. There's a reason you're seeing me right now and hearing my voice. There's a reason that we need to be connected. And I believe that with all of my heart.
So please reach out. So you've got her email here at bebrightcoaching@gmail.com. You can follow her on Facebook at, I think, do you do the @ symbol in Facebook? I don't think you do. You just do Happy Sunshine.
Yeah, it's just Happy Sunshine for my name. And on Instagram, it's Happy Sunshine too. But it's on Instagram, the sunshine is a 1 in Sunshine.
Okay.
And then on Facebook, it's just Happy Sunshine.
Okay, cool. So go follow Sunshine. We're also going to have links to her content as it becomes available on my12journeys.com. So she is a partner coach with 12 Journeys. So if you want to experience the 12 Journeys through a unique perspective, then you need to come over here and talk to Sunshine about how to incorporate these 4 pillars with the 12 Journeys into your life, because as a combination, they're really unstoppable. And so we appreciate you being here.
If you're interested in being a coach, be a coach with 12 Journeys, because it's amazing.
It'll enhance anything you're doing, guys. So it's powerful.
For sure. Yeah.
So come see us at my12journeys.com. We appreciate you as always. If you've watched this video and you think of somebody that just comes to mind that would benefit from this conversation, share the link with them. Make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can know when we go live every single dang time. And as always, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will see you in the next episode. Go make it a giant day.